Life is the way you live it, so you have to make each step count. There is a famous story of a man who was a drunkard who lived a very unpleasant life. He was not very good with his kids. He had two children who were twins. Let's call the first one John and the other one Johnson. With time, these kids grew up, and because of the father's alcoholic behavior, he was very brutal to these kids and he never actually gave them great lessons because he was a drunkard himself. Time passed, and because of his cruel and also unhealthy lifestyle, he passed away at a very early age, leaving behind John and Johnson. They grew up, and John became a very successful person, and Johnson, on the other hand, became a drunkard, living on the streets. Now, there was an interview that was held, and these two people were called and they questioned them individually at separate places. Why did you end up this way? Now, John's response was, hey, because I saw what my dad did, and that was not a great life to look up to. I never wanted to end up like my father. I never wanted to be a person who molested my kids and beat them up and drank and was not responsible. Therefore, I picked the other path. So, John was inspired literally by his father, but on the opposite side, not to be like his father. But on the other hand, Johnson became an alcoholic and he was left on the streets. And he said, it is my father's fault. That is what I saw. What else would you expect from me? That is all the model that I had in my hands. Life is about the way you live it. You have one shot, so you have to make it count. You decide how you interpret the things that happens to your life. Life is happening to us, but the moment you begin to pick the keys and put everything into your hands, and you take the blame for everything, you begin to transform the way you look at life and your approach to how to deal with the things that happens to us in our lives. I believe it's up to us to take full responsibility to everything that happens to us. I've lived in different countries and I've seen how people interpret things that happen to us. Some people smoke and drink because they say they are finding a way to numb their problems. But other people also face their problems like a man holding the horns of a bull and fighting with it. Hiding away these issues or trying to drink your problems out or to smoke it out or just to numb the pain is like sweeping the dust of a room under the carpet. The room is still dirty, just that you cannot see it. But as time goes on, it piles up and it becomes overwhelming and you cannot get out of it. It is up to us to pick all our problems today by finding all the little things that are actually upsetting you, the little things that are taking your life on another turn, and try to make an impact and try to make a change. Make a list of the things that are bothering you. Make a list of the things you're struggling with. You have an issue you want to fix. You have an exams you want to go in for. You are jobless. You don't have a job. Start writing your CV. Start sharing your CVs with other people. Momentum is the only way that is going to heal you from your depression or whatever you want to call it. Any stress that you have could be solved by motion. You cannot solve the problems of the mind by thinking it. Thinking about it makes it even worse. Problems of the mind are mostly solved by motion, by taking action. It is up to us to take the motion and you begin to move. Think about it like a bicycle. The bicycle does not find the balance until it starts moving. So even if you feel like you cannot balance without raising up your legs, you need to raise your legs before you can find the balance. You need to paddle the first one, go roll as hard as possible, and the bicycle takes the momentum, and all you have to do is now to steer it in the right direction. Your life is like the bicycle. Your life is like a car. You need a destination. You need to find a destination. And most of the times, your destination does not come very clear at the beginning stage. You are young, so you need to try many things. The problem with most young people today is they are trying to find their destination without actually taking a step. So they are trying to plan everything in their mind. Most of the times, what we have to do is not to plan. We need to take action first, make some mistakes, and we have real data in our hands. Science is about the method of obtaining knowledge where you are experimenting and testing hypotheses. Hypotheses are not things which are facts, they are hypotheses. That's the name. We just assume or presumptions of things, saying that I think this is that. I think if I learn how to play the piano, and because I live in this country and there is a scarcity of pianists, I could become one of the greatest pianists in this country. That is a hypothesis. Nobody knows. That is a hypothesis. Nobody knows if that is going to be possible. But the moment you take the first step by even getting a piano and trying to learn something, then you are making a great step. You might be thinking this social media world, everybody's talking about starting a personal brand. You overthink the process, but life is all about just taking the first step. Most people confuse motion with progress. Okay, so you need to start the motion and it might lead to progress. But if you want to have progress, progress can never happen without any motion. You need to move, but move in the right direction. So you move, you correct yourself. This is what we call deliberate practice, where you are not just moving aimlessly, but you are moving and at the same time checking back your tracks to make sure you're on the right track. They normally do this research where they allow people to be blindfolded and they ask them to walk in a straight line, and they realize that they were walking in circles all around. This is the issue also that people have when they begin to move without a plan. So it comes in both ways, where you should be moving but moving deliberately and always checking your back to make sure you're on the right track. So, life is what happens to us. You can decide to call the things that happened to you in the past as a trauma, or you can call them lessons. You can either look at it as the lessons of life, or it is just the life whether we are supposed to live. I don't know what you believe in, but we have one life, we have one shot, and when we are done from this earth, that is it. That is what I believe. Therefore, it is up to us to make the best of everything that we can do for ourselves today by living the best life, by living the best experiences, by going far and beyond to explore the unexplored things in our own lives. You have to face the dragon. You know, in the past, they have this metaphor of facing the dragon, where great warriors were going to look for the grail, the holy grail, and they had to go into the wilderness at the moments when they felt like that was the darkest of the time for them. It is all about facing your fears. The things that you fear the most, that is where you're going to find the things that you have not yet discovered about yourself. If you are not a talkative person and you have fear of public speaking and you have all these challenges, your victory and the triumph lies beyond the things that you're very comfortable with. You're comfortable with not talking to other people, therefore, you have to start talking to other people. It is so funny, and it's always very interesting to notice that the success actually lies beyond the comfort zone. It is a very well said something, we call it a cliche, but it is actually true that what you're trying to look for is actually lying beyond your comfort zone. So you just need to take a step out of where you find yourself to be comfortable and challenge yourself a little bit one at a time. And you will realize that you are moving in the direction of chasing the dragon far away from you, and will lead you to having your own discovery of who you are. Your real life starts the moment that fear ends. Hence, it's up to us to reinterpret the things that happened to us in the past and look at them as great lessons that has brought us where we are now, and how we can channel this particular thing into the right direction. It is all up to us. So go ahead and live your life to the fullest. You can call it a trauma, or you can call it a lesson to be better. Gamelin X here. See you in the next videos. Bye-bye.